because I think so many rugby players are guilty of constantly worrying if they can do more, constantly worrying if they could push themselves harder. And I think that's because they haven't got these objective markers or an objective plan where they're saying, okay, these are the things I'm going to work on. And then you're like, oh no, but I haven't worked on speed. What about speed? Oh, what about, handoffs? What about this muscle? What about this? And it adds up, right? You can't do all of that in a week, but you can do all of that in a year if you plan it. And you can then, you're not worrying about your, oh, my strength's dropping a little bit. Okay. Maybe it is, or maybe it's just not because maybe your actual strength in the game is still there. It's just not able to manifest itself in a squat because you've got other concerns. And so then when you go back to your strength block, because you know that's coming in a few months, you're going to be able to push that and be fine.
Yeah, I think, it seems super reasonable.
Like, and that's the other thing that powerlifters do quite well is if they're in a block that's not. A peaking block, they're okay with not being, competition ready.
Yeah, there's permission. You get permission to not kill yourself.
And I think even with Westside or with other periodization powerlifting specialities, like that's another thing they do quite well is they might, especially when they're doing hypertrophy blocks. It's also because the lifts are kind of technical and they're not the greatest for hypertrophy anyway. But if they're doing hypertrophy blocks, or if they're doing blocks that aren't specific to gaining strength in those movements, they stay away from those movements because it would actually bum them out a little bit to say, oh, I can't do that,
Yeah, for sure. It feels fucking shit to go into the gym and be like 50 kilo off your max.
So, to go back to the 5K example, right? We wouldn't say an easy 5K. I would say an easy 40-minute run. Try to get around 5K, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but I can run 5K in 25. Yeah, but we're not testing you right now,
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah,
stop. Just don't try as hard, man. The one thing I say to my groups I coach is like, stop trying so hard.
Yeah. The one thing I always say, or two things I say is, number one is trust the process, because again, it comes from not having a periodized approach. Is like wanting to get the most out of every single session, whereas a session isn't like. It just has to be good enough to, you don't need the strongest brick ever to build a house.
Just fucking turn up.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I say is just tick the box, right? Like some weeks are going to be good, some weeks and you're going to feel great and you can push, but it's going to feel easy to do it. You don't have to push yourself. And then there are other weeks where you have to push yourself just to show up, and then just showing up and you're doing the minimum amount of work and you get it done.
I coach some of the best lifters in the world, right? And I still say that same shit stat, like, just turn up, just fucking tick the box, get in. And these are people who are top 10 in the world, right?
But that's how they get top in the world, is because that's that consistency.
Like Kitty's a good example. Like Kitty will miss a training session. Even if she goes in and she's 20 kilo off her numbers. Like, she just doesn't miss sessions.
Yeah, but then she also doesn't spend 3 hours in that gym, I would assume, right?
She does.
No, but I'm saying 3 hours extra in the gym when she's 20 kilos off her numbers, trying to get those numbers up, like, because that's not how it works, right? You take what you can get.
She would have done like 2 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But now she's got
like that, even like, just fucking be consistent. Turn up, tick a box, go back tomorrow, do better.
And that's definitely what rugby players can learn from that. Like, and that's why, I think that what we're doing here with Rugby Muscle is quite good, because it gives that. Like sort of systematized, thoughtful process to your rugby strength and conditioning. And at the end of the day, like, you can apply this to your skills as well, and you can also try and apply this to your tactics. Like, watch the game, get in that information, understand where you can get better. And it's the easiest thing in rugby is to blame others, because you're on a field with 14 other guys that are trying to help you in achieving your goal, right? It's very easy to say, oh, we lost, and then shirk responsibility. You can't do that on a powerlifting platform. Like, if you miss a squat, who's missed that squat? And it's also, like, the other thing is with rugby, like, especially at the lower level, most games that you lose is not a case because you weren't up for the game, or you didn't have the perfect pre-match meal, or whatever. Most games that you lose, like, you could have won if you would have prepared better 3 months ago, right? If your preparation had been spot on from then and been consistent.
Yeah.
As a team,
100%.
but also as an individual.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
on powerlifting, you know that firsthand. You're like, okay, it's not really often that your peaking wasn't perfect. It's more often that you're just not strong enough. You know, like, whereas rugby, it's like, you can blame those things in the short term. Oh, the ref. How easy is it to fucking blame the ref? But reality is, if a local village team played the All Blacks, you could have the most biased ref ever. That local village team are never winning that game because they're not better.
Yeah.
And so we've got to,
Right.
So the ref, mental toughness, all that doesn't come into it. It comes into being better
Fucking
by planning
mental.
in the long term.